All right, John. So let's
So if
talk building the back, man.
if we're gonna hit the back, I
I
think the number one
go.
thing that people tend to realize about the back is a massive muscle, massive.
Yes, yes.
And I think there's a lot of stuff that the back gets a lot of work in a lot of ways that people don't understand. People think about lat pull downs, they think about rows, and there's nothing wrong with this stuff. This is all good stuff, especially the pull up. The pull up is like one of my favorite ever exercises.
Oh yeah.
But what they tend to not realize is any variation of a deadlift is also going to work your back.
Yep.
And some of the biggest backs on the planet were made through deadlifting, not through doing lat pull downs, not through doing pull ups. And so, like when I was really clicking in my strength career, what I would do is I would warm up with a couple of failure sets of pull ups. In those days, shit, man, I
Yep.
could, even though I was over 300 pounds, man, I could knock out 35, 45 pull ups. Now, I wasn't going to failure, but I was just filling that thing up with blood. And then I
Yep.
would go to deadlift after that. And between, because ultimately you've got two different angles. There's when you're pulling down, and then there was one, there's a rowing motion. And a deadlift is going to really be, it's more of a static movement. It's because you're not actually rowing when you're deadlifting. It's just supporting all that weight. And
Yep.
so I guess the main thing I'm getting at here is you got to understand how big the back is and recognize that you can get a lot of back work in other movements. And the problem, the reason I bring up the deadlift, because so many people avoid it, but they don't understand what they're avoiding.
And then another thing too, anytime you're looking to, I guess, target a certain muscle, those compound movements, like a deadlift where you target more muscles, it's going to allow you to pull more weight, which is going to work the
Yep.
muscle even more because you have the capacity to pull more weight on a deadlift opposed to a lat pull down. So that's actually a good point. And then I'm going to ask you a question too. So let's say, because let's say you work in chest, and I guess the antagonist would be back, but on the way down, your chest is working, but your back is working as well, so the gravity doesn't just pull the weight down and hit your chest. I think I've even felt my back sore on chest days sometimes. Has that ever happened to you as well?
And it just so everybody understands what Marty said, totally correct. So when you're doing heavy bench press, the muscle that keeps that bar from falling and hitting you in the stomach or coming back and hitting the rack, the back is what's doing that. The back is what's keeping that bar aligned where you want it to be. So when you're really going heavy on a bench press, your back is working. There's no question about it. When I'm doing standing overhead press with a bar, my back's
Oh
working
yeah.
like a
Oh
mother,
yeah.
man. I get
Oh
sore as
yeah.
hell. My lats will get really sore from a
Yep.
standing overhead press. And
So I brought that. I was just going, before you finish, I was just going to say I brought that up just to show that even on compound movements on your antagonist, when the back is the antagonist, that's working your back as well. I just wanted to add that in before you finish why I brought it up.
yeah, yeah. I think one of the things that people tend to not understand about the back is because it's so big, you can work it from so many different angles in so many different ways. And a lot of times people tend to get into the rhythm of doing the same thing over and over
Yep.
when with the back, there's so many things that you can do, so many angles. There's so many different angles of, say, a pull down. There's so many different angles of a row. Constantly change this up because you have this wide array of angles and all of them are going to work. You're silly not to be constantly changing. There are other muscles, like say the bicep. There's only so many things you can do for that bicep. You could shorten the range of motion. You could do a few different exercises, but the back is going to get worked from so many different positions. Have some fun with it. You should never get bored training your back. And that being said, you could, whether it's, we talked about changing rep ranges, we're talking about doing shit backwards, but with this one, you can literally just pick a bunch of different shit every time and just constantly be changing what you're doing.
No, absolutely, man. And even you can get real complex with the back, even on lat pull downs, or if I'm doing bent over rows, you can switch it to single arm. That single arm lat pull down, oh my God. So you can get super creative. So you definitely have to lift heavy. Talk about rep ranges too. So you lifting heavy, what should the rep range be? And then if you want to get some endurance in there too, you need some endurance, some muscle endurance to build your back as well. So talk about those rep ranges as well.
Absolutely. I think that's, if you got to understand, if we're going into say like the deadlift, right? Because we're promoting the deadlift for the back. You got to be careful going heavy there because people hurt themselves all the time because they don't know what they're doing. So you want to be selective. You got to look at the kind of a risk assessment. Okay, this is an exercise that people tend to veer away from. Maybe you've been veering away because the bros say it's a dangerous exercise. We just don't know how to do it. So if you're going to try to do that, maybe you're inspired by this conversation. I'm going to go do some deadlifts for my back. Do it cautiously because you don't have to go really heavy to get a lot of work on a deadlift for the back. So I would recommend in those exercises, where you don't really understand, just do a high rep range, a lower weight, and you're going to get a lot of work out of that. With my back training, I'll do everything from as low as a 5 rep to as high as a 30 or 40. It's just constantly mix it up. And I'll do that in the same workout. I mean, I'm a big one on pull-ups to failure. And at that point, I don't know how many reps I'm going to get. I just know if it's in the front of the workout, it's going to be more. At the tail end of the workout, it's going to be less. But either way, I got a great workout. So constantly change those rep ranges, constantly change the exercises. And I think the thing about this, which we talk about all the time, enjoy it. Have fun with this. Because if you're having fun with it, you're going to want to do it next time you train your back.
Yeah, and I think you should keep those. Once you find something you like, you should keep it consistent for a while. Allow your body to respond to it. Allow your body to get some results from it, and then switch it up. But I think a lot of people, especially if you go to a Gold's gym or like a hardcore gym, there's so many machines in there. People just be trying different shit. But no, keep your back workouts consistent. And then, Johnny, talk about working from different planes. All right, so talk about the bent over row, talk about the seated row, talk about the lat pull down or pull up. Talk about the different planes.
All these angles, it might be more digestible for some people that don't understand the word planes, because Marty's talking some higher level stuff here. But angles, you can even like a lat pull down. If I'm going to do a lat pull down, the first one is I'm going to sit in there with my feet behind me. So I'm really upright. So it's a straight pull. And it's because you're only activating those lats. You're not as strong, but that's okay. It's not about, I'm not lifting to see how much I can lift. I'm lifting to get that muscle work. Then I might switch it up to where I'll put my feet out in front of me, which is how you see most people do it. I'll lean back a little bit, totally different angle, but it's, again, you're working the back, but you're getting a different angle. It's a different stimulus. It's even good for your mind because all you did was change your position a little bit. It feels differently. And then people tend to like it because they're stronger when they're leaning back. But angles is everything with back. Because it's such a big movement, you got to constantly change those angles. See, for the chest, you got your flat, your decline, and your incline. And realistically, you could work all the angles in between, but it's a smaller muscle, so it's not quite so important. The back is massive. People refer to the back as slabs because it's slabs of meat on each side of your back. And that big muscle another thing we should probably mention, Marty, is the back can take a lot of work. The back will take far more work than, say, the tricep because it's such a big muscle. But at the same time, you don't have to go and try to overdo it. Just get in there, enjoy yourself, constantly rotate the angles, which Marty said, the different planes, and enjoy it.
That's it.
There you go. Enjoy it. And if you are ready to put those big back hacks to the test,
What is this? Jesus
I invite you to like the channel, comment, subscribe. In the gym with John and Marty every single day at 9:15 Eastern
Where's
time.
Tina?
Gym advice to help you guys achieve the biggest goals in your life. And hey, listen, we're going to wrap it up coming up in a few minutes.